Okay, back to talk about some black metal. Today I want to talk about two American bands, Krallice and Ludicra. And before I get into that, I am currently in the background listening to Aqualim. They are one of Mick Barr's side projects. He is one of the guitar players for the band. And all the members are involved in many different cool projects that I can't even really get into it right now. But I will talk about Krallice. And this is the debut album. Came out in 2008, and this blew my mind when I first heard it. It just sounded really fresh, and like all of Krallice's albums, it's a backhanded compliment, but they just have so many amazing riffs that last for such a short period of time that they just blow by you sometimes, and you don't realize just how good those riffs are. But not a bad problem to have, right? So that album I also have on vinyl. Kind of a cool green, blue, and black record. And it was after that album that I went to see them open for Wolves in the Throne Room in Toronto. Never saw the headliner, and it's a long story. I had to leave. But I got to the show early, and there's a really good record store in Toronto called Sonic Boom. It's around the corner from that venue. And I got there early, and I went down the steps to check out the metal section down there. And I hear metal being played live, and I go, what's that? I go down, and there's Krallice several hours before the show, just playing for free to like maybe 30 people. So I thought that was pretty cool, and those are the things that make you kind of sentimental about bands, right? Their second album, Dimensional Bleed Through, I think is equally as good. Similar. The first track is amazing. And I also have a copy of that one on vinyl with a bit of a different album cover. And a clear vinyl. Well, they're both double. I've seen Krallice live maybe 3 other times. One time they opened for Withered. One time they co-headlined with Ludicra. And one time I really have trouble putting my finger on who they played with. But had fun every time, but it's been many years since I've seen them. Which brings me to, I'm only going to be talking about their old stuff. I keep up with the band. I check out what they put out. It's still cool. But it's hard to keep up with purchasing everything they put out. But I do what I can. Third album, Diotima. All 3 of these first 3 were put out on Profound Lore. And this one, I don't know which album I think is the best, but this is the one I probably put on the most these days. They proceed to put out several more albums, and I dropped off for a bit, but I did get around to picking up this one, Prelapsarian. This was put out on Gilead, and I think it's a pretty cool album. And the most recent thing I have is this EP. What's it called? It's called Loom. It's with Krallice with Dave Edwardson from Neurosis on it. Dave Edwardson doesn't sing on a lot of Neurosis, but when he does, you definitely take notice. Cool album, and I haven't listened to this one in a while. I need to do that. So I mentioned I had a great time seeing Krallice with Ludicra, and I will then, well, Ludicra formed I think 2004, and they had a debut album called Hall of Psalms. I've heard it, but I don't own it, and a lot of people think it's their best stuff, and I disagree with that, but I do have the CDR, and I actually had it in the car last summer, and that was an 8 out of 10, I thought. This is another great love song. This came out on Alternative Tentacles. I feel like this is their best known album. I could be wrong. Got a copy of that on vinyl. And the next album was Fex Lurbis Lex Orbis. I have a copy of this on CD somewhere. Not sure where that is. But this is an album that I remember as being just not quite as interesting as the other ones. Ludicra long since broken up, and this was their final album, The Tenant, and to me, this is their best one. It's just the most fun to listen to, and the one that's kept with me the most through the years. So, that's it for Krallice and Ludicra. Thanks.